Hi and welcome into the Kitchen Sink podcast where we talk about everything but the kitchen sink. Hello and welcome into episode 6 of the Kitchen Sink. Now guys, I guess this is 1 minute. I need a quick drink. I guess this is somewhat a Valentine's special. Even though if you're watching, obviously you can see me. If not, spoiler alert. Not a spoiler, I'm telling you. I'm not wearing anything remotely Valentine's-y. I've not changed anything about the set. So realistically, it's not that Valentine's-y. But we are talking about relationships and stuff today. So what I've done for this episode is, I'm not sure whether I'm going to be titling this like Bradvice or Agony Uncle, because I kind of like both ideas. I guess we'll know when this is up what I decided to call it, but basically what I'm doing is I'm going to be giving you some advice today. Now, I actually, you know what? I was going to be really self-deprecating just then, and I was going to say that I don't really think I'm good at advice, and I actually will completely retract that statement because I know that I'm very good at giving advice, right? Now, whether it's always the most feasible advice is a different story, right? But I am good at giving advice. I speak to my mum often and I always give my mum advice on what to do. My closest sister, Leah, who you'll be seeing very soon, actually. Very soon. Anyway, I give her a lot of advice, and my friend Liam, I give him an abundance of advice, right? So I do think I'm somewhat qualified. Now, the only thing is, usually the advice that I give is not necessarily relationship-y, whereas a lot of the dilemmas in today's episode are quite relationship-centric. Or not even like your traditional relationship, just like dating and stuff, right? Now, if you didn't know, I have spoken about this. We have spoken about the fact that I am single in length, okay? I'm single, I've been single. If you want to know more about it and kind of like a full-on rundown of relationships and dating and all that kind of thing, we have got a dedicated episode. I will just plug that, just in case any of you haven't seen it yet. So I guess maybe check that out. But I do think I am quite clued up on relationships, and I can kind of see the red flags for the most part. So I think this could potentially be good. Now, who knows, right? I'm not promising that this is going to be incredible advice. By all means, don't take my advice. Like, that is totally fine. This is just more a bit of fun, to be honest. And I kind of like to live vicariously through some of you guys, because some of these are fucking wild. So I guess let's just start. I read a few of these, obviously, just to favourite the ones that I think are really good that we're going to hit on today. But I did get loads. For future reference, I probably will continue to do this Bradvice thing or Agony Uncle. I think it's quite a fun concept. So we'll probably continue doing these episodes quite randomly, or when I feel like I've got a good amount of dilemmas. The email will always be open, and that is thekitchensinkpd@gmail.com. That's specifically just for dilemmas and such. I do tend to like length. Wow, that's so gay of me. Not in that aspect, but when it comes to these dilemmas, I think it's great to have like backstory and stuff. So if you are ever in need, feel free just to drop the dilemma over, and it might feature in a future episode of this, because I do plan on doing these, because I've got a load and I easily could do a few episodes just out of the ones that we've got currently. So with that said, I guess let's get into the first dilemma. Okay, so this first one, we're going to kick it off with a bang, because when I read this, guys, I tell you, fucking what? There's some trifling bitches out there. There really, really is. So, I'm not sure if this person wanted me to keep her anonymous or whatever, so I will. I'm going to try and not say any names or anything. I think she's actually done code names, so that's perfect. But I won't say this lady's name. But the tagline is, my crush has a weird relationship with his girl best friend. So here goes nothing. So I'm going through a moment with my crush, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. darling, I've got you. Bear with. Big fan of your personality and content. Oh, thank you so much. And wanted to share this story. All these names are going to be fake, so feel free to read it as you will. Sorry if it's a lot to read, but bear with me here. And then she's put in big letters, capitals. This is the shortened version. Which, guys, when you hear this fucking story, this is wild. So I would love to hear the full story. But anyway, I met my crush, Simon, on New Year's at a party. So pretty recent. So I got invited to this New Year's party by some friends, and one of my close friends is named Alex and has a girlfriend named Jennifer. So we've got Alex and Jennifer. Is that right? Yeah, me and Jennifer bonded when I first came to their place. I was staying over at their place. That's lovely. Okay, great. We love bonding with our friend's spouse, right? Because, of course, she is Alex's girlfriend and I wanted to have a good relationship with her, as anyone should do, right? She is telling me about Simon, who is coming to the party, and that he is her best friend, right? So, guys, I'm going to try and keep you in the loop, right? So, Alex's girlfriend is named Jennifer. Jennifer is telling us, right, the protagonist, about Simon. Do you know who that makes me think of? Him from Bridgerton. That sexy, sexy bastard. I'm pretty sure he was called Simon. But anyway, so she's telling us about Simon, right? And he's her best friend, okay? So the besties. She continued telling me that he's single and that maybe I should check him out. I personally haven't been in a relationship for years due to personal issues, which led to me feeling really emotionally detached. Fair play, babes. You've got to take that time for yourself and get yourself right before we get into any more relationships, right? I completely agree. We all got ready and went to the party. Jennifer's boyfriend couldn't come because he promised some other people to go to a different party. So it was me, Jennifer, and some friends. When we arrived at the party, I was a bit nervous because I didn't really know anyone, but everyone was really nice and friendly, and I remember feeling quite comfortable. We fucking love that. Jennifer had sat next to Simon and they essentially talked the entire night. He really caught my eye. He looked really attractive, but at the same time, so unique. He has a unique style and just overall energy. Oh, we're reading energies. Simon and Jennifer kept talking throughout the entire party, and I just noticed a weird energy with them. The physical contact / touch was so intimate. Right, I wonder if you guys see where this is going. I thought it was in my head, so I brushed it off. Lots of drinks later, me and him somehow ended up sitting next to each other and started talking. We got along so well. Fab. So much in common, and he gave me a genuine vibe. Oh God, we love the vibes. We love the vibes. Now I can't lie, I've not had the vibe in a while from any fucker. So I'm envious, right? We sat close to each other, talked about music. He even gave me his phone and told me to put all my favorite songs in his playlist so he could listen to them. Now that's a ballsy move. Now I do like a playlist, right? I've got a Spotify. It has all my own playlists on. Now, am I fuck giving my phone to some other person for them to put their music and contaminate my music? Now, what I might do is I might make them a separate playlist, like, you know, Jennifer's playlist, and then Jennifer can fucking contaminate her own playlist. But mixing playlists, I'm not sure about that. But you know what? Fair play to you. And this is the first time they're meeting each other. Jesus. Definitely a genuine vibe. He opened up about some stuff that caused him to be an anti-relationship type of guy. Okay, red flag. Then his girl best friend came back and kind of interrupted us-ish. Few more hours passed and we went back to her place and decided to chill in the living room. Us three sat on the couch and started talking. Suddenly, I noticed they were cuddling. The way I would have, oh my God, I would have either left or thrown hands straight away. Her going through his hair or him going through hers. Cuddling and the intimacy felt similar to a romantic couple. Now, what strikes me as a problem here is that Jennifer has got a boyfriend already. So how's about you keep your fucking mitts off, Jen, right? And let me have this one. Although I guess we don't really know Jennifer. We don't know what her deal is. But still, come on. Fucking hell, how many boys do you want? But anyway, it threw me off so much, I was just weirded out. I assumed it was one of those one-time things until the next party. Again, they cuddled. Who's cuddling at a fucking party? This time, her boyfriend was there and he didn't even bat an eye. Now I'm thinking, open relationship. Are they in an open relationship? We don't know. But it is weird that she'd be... Sorry, pardon me. It would be weird, though, that she's like best mates with this person and they like get freaky and cuddle and shit at parties. And he obviously is straight because this is from a woman's perspective. So it's not like it's like, do you know, like when like a straight girl cuddles their gay best friend, like, and they both know nothing sexual is going to happen. Like, that's where I was going with that. Like thinking, oh, maybe it could be that, but clearly is straight. Ever since we met each other on New Year's, we had been texting/snapping each other every single day, and I'm the person he talks to the most. But do we know that for sure? I'm sorry, lady who's emailed in. Do we know that you're the person that he speaks to most? This seems a bit sus in my opinion. This second party threw me off guard because I felt like Simon was flirting with me and being interested in me, but at the same time, him and his girl best friend were doing all this physical touch thing again. Cuddles, hugs, going through each other's hair, eye contact, etc. God, I love how specific we're being. You just know this bitch has been watching, right? And she's taking in all this bollocks. Also, right, to be fair, could you potentially being a little bit over the top, maybe, just because obviously you do like this boy, so maybe you're like, your senses about the whole scenario might be a bit heightened because obviously you won't want anyone else to show interest, and obviously because they're really good friends, who knows, maybe it was just like what they do as friends. Oh my God, do you know who it reminds me of? Do you know in Friends when there's that brother and sister and like they're really weirdly intimate? It's kind of giving that, isn't it? Anyway, he kept hugging me, acting cute, and I caught him looking at me so many times. I didn't ever want to overstep any boundaries because I know he doesn't want a relationship, so I never did anything. The main thing I noticed was that she was the one that took all the initiative to do all these things with him. So she was the pressuring one. She was the one going through his hair. She was the one, spooning. I mean, ballsy move on her part, but I guess once again they are busy mates. So, all right, fair enough. Jennifer sounds like a fucking bitch. And then she says, whereas he was the one taking all the initiative to do all these things with her. Okay, so this to me says that he's definitely interested in you more than he is Jen, right? It confused me so much because I feel like he has given me a lot of hints, but the relationship with his girl best friend makes me feel so insecure and uncomfortable. It's the first time in a long time that I've ever felt the feelings I'm having for a guy, which makes it hard to let go. After the second party, I told him my point of view and my opinion on it, and told him it kind of bothered me, but he can feel free, obviously, to do whatever he likes, and that it's not my place to get between him and his girl best friend. That was a very good thing for you to do there, because I think it's important that, obviously, if we're getting to know this boy, it's important that we're transparent from the get-go. But then on top of that, I do think it's very good of you to be like, you know what? This is very early stages. Nothing really is going on right now. But I would just like to know that I'm enjoying you. But I will say that this is irritating me, whatever's going on with your girl best mate, right? I like that. Well done for standing up for yourself, because a lot of people wouldn't do that. So that takes some real balls of steel. It seemed like he really cared about my feelings and what I thought, and told me he will talk to her and stop doing the physical stuff. I don't think that's a hard ask, is it? Right? If you're best mates with a girl and you're wanting to date people... Or, although I guess he did say that, like, relationships aren't his thing, which is kind of a red flag in this scenario, I'd say. But I'm just thinking, if you were, like, strictly friends with this girl, now do we know if, like, maybe he likes Jennifer and he's just pissed off that obviously she's got a boyfriend? Then who knows, Jennifer and her boyfriend might be in an open relationship, right? And then maybe they get freaky when they're drunk. We don't know. Because I'll say this, like, I've done bits with straight girls when I've been drunk. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm an anomaly because I don't really know what my sexuality is. But, like, these things can happen. People have weird friendships where, like, things only really happen when they're drunk, right? Now, present day. Oh, here we go. We still talk every single day and we are seeing each other each other again next week at a party. Stunning. I'm not able to see him often because I live far away, so this is another opportunity to see whether or not there is something between him and I. He says he doesn't want a relationship, but proceeds to flirt and says things that makes me question him on his stance on relationships. Slowly, I noticed he kind of opens up a little bit to the idea, but it's still too early to say. I'm afraid he won't keep his promise to talk to his girl best friend and still will keep cuddling and doing other stuff with her. I don't know if I should forget about him or how to approach the situation without ruining their friendship, nor make it awkward between him and I. Oh no, between me and her. I can't tell if I'm being played or not, because honestly, our convos, talks, and flirty moments feel so genuine, and yet there is so many other things making me question it all. What do I do? Thanks for reading. This is a relatively shortened version of it, but I appreciate it if you read it, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're welcome, honey. We're reading it. Right, now, what I'll say is, and this is just what I've heard from my straight friends, like my straight female friends, I've heard, and I can tell you this right now, straight men know what to say and know how to act to keep you sweet. Right? Now, what this says to me is, see, I was going to say, it says to me that maybe he's just trying to keep you sweet in the hopes of maybe like pursuing some sort of friends with benefits situation, right? Because obviously he said to you straight out the gates, the first time you got to know each other, he was saying, I'm not a relationship guy. Although he did open up about obviously some serious stuff that maybe happened in his past, whatever, that's kind of made him like this. So who knows? Maybe you could be the girlie to change him. But then I do find it weird that, like, if he's talking to you, why is he allowing his girl best friend to be all cuddly and weird when they're drunk? Unless it is just very just like strictly platonic, they have a laugh when they're drunk. Now, I'd be saying different stuff if they were completely sober, but because obviously all these instances have happened at a party, that's what makes me think it's more just like a drunken fun thing, and maybe that's just what their personalities are like. Now, I personally do find it odd that a straight boy would be like this with a girl who's in a relationship and they're meant to be best mates, and they do it in front of her boyfriend. So that's what makes me think that there might be something else on that end. What I'd say to you, and now here's my advice, I'd say to you to low-key, because you've said you live far away from him anyway, I'd say maybe have another talk with him, just to maybe gauge where he's at. Obviously, I know it's difficult because you don't see each other often, so who knows. But then on the other side of that, it wouldn't hurt just to give it up, to be honest, because it seems relatively fresh. I know obviously like you still have good chats and stuff, so maybe I'd suggest trying to keep it more of a friend thing, because although yes, I know you flirt, it could be kind of nice just to keep the part of your friendship where you can open up to each other, you have a lot in common, you know, that sort of thing. And who knows, or just come out and ask him. Now, maybe this is too ballsy, but I'd personally probably just come out and ask him and be like, what's going on? Like, is there something I'm missing here? Or like, I'd say maybe do this if it continues in a flirtatious way. And if you've seen him at this party, which I'm assuming you might have seen him at this party by now, because this was sent in over a week ago, I'm thinking you might have seen him at this party. Please write back in and let me know, see if anything happened at the party. Because if it was flirtatious at the party with you, I'd then feel like I have the merit to be like, are we taking this further? Like, do you like me? What are we doing? Not necessarily the chat of like, what are we? Because that seems really serious. But like even a chat of just like, what are we doing? Like, am I going to make effort to see you more? And like, do you want to get to know me on more of a relationship dating sort of way? Or are you strictly just not going to be into relationships? You know, I think that's completely fair to say, because obviously he's told you he's not into relationships. You're starting to get the feels for someone and you haven't had feels like this in a while. So I think before you get your feelings really hurt, definitely find out if he's at all wavered on his stance on relationships. And then if he has, ask him what the deal is with this girl and whether they definitely are friends. Because what I don't want to happen is you to pursue this guy, potentially get in a relationship, who knows, or some sort of situationship, and then this stuff continue to happen with this weird girl best friend, fucking Jennifer, right? And then it end up being like this weird triangle thing, and her boyfriend's just not giving a shit on the sidelines. Who knows? I honestly, that's the only advice I could potentially give you, to be honest. That seems like the best bet. Otherwise, I'd just say, you know what, leave it. Is it really that worth it? Because this is weird behavior, if you ask me. He's a straight boy that like cuddles and is like flirty with his girl best friend when he's drunk. That's weird. It's weird behavior. And it's odd. Do you know what I also find fucking odd? Sorry, last point on this, and then we'll move on to the next dilemma. But what I also found really odd is that Jennifer was the one that told you that Simon was single and told you to explore that option. But yet at the party, when she told you to get to know him, whatever, she was there fucking rubbing up against him and putting fingers through his hair. First of all, don't like Jennifer, right? Not sure on this Simon. I think you can do better, right? Let's leave it at that. Okay, next dilemma. This one's much shorter, so this shouldn't be as long. Sorry, that one was quite a lengthy one. But I kind of like the length. I like the story, right? So, this one's just titled Confession, right? Dear Kitchen Sink Podcast. Oh, love that. Hi, I'm going to be honest. I'm writing this during fourth period pre-calculus. Lol, but I have a dilemma. Oh my God, that is so American. I tell you what, it's so interesting to read the way some of you guys write and like the lingo that you use and really try and deduce where you're coming from, okay? So, here we go. There's this guy in one of my classes that I like romantically. I'm a guy too. Love that. Hi, gay. Let's fucking do this. I know that he is also LGBTQIA+, right? I doubt he even knows I exist, but should I just tell him point blank I have a crush on him? I mean, Valentine's Day is coming up and Walmart is already shoving it down my face. God, this is so American. Also, Valentine's been and gone by the time this episode's coming out, so sorry. Do I try and do it in an American accent? I don't think I can. I know... That was not American. I know the basic answer is to squish my emotions down. I don't know how to do an American accent. I can barely speak English, so... I mean, it's not like I have any friends or ever even been on a date. Plus, the kids here in high school suck and sometimes make fun of me. What do you think I should do? P.S. Do you think you could make my code name Denim if you cover my email? Yes, you're welcome, Denim. Don't you fucking worry about it. Then Denim's put, sincerely, a stressed out high school student, and I live for that. So, I'd say, you know what? Fuck it. We're going over to this boy. The thing is, high school, right? It seems like such a long time when you're in it, right? But I'm like, how many years out of high school now? Like 8 years out of high school. Wow. I've really aged myself there, haven't I? But I'm like 8 years outside of high school now, like been and gone. And I can promise you it literally goes by in a flash, right? So even though you may be going through all these like weird issues, like you got no friends, never been on a date, people are nasty, whatever. First of all, don't worry about that. It'll be over and done with soon. On top of that, I just think it's too fucking short to let your crush pass you by, especially because you're young, you're in high school, so realistically, soon, so here's what I'm saying, we're walking up to this boy, we're saying, hi, Thomas, where, like, basically, like, I think you're fit, I know you're a fag, so if you'd like to, I would love to go on a date and get to know you better, right? That's all you have to say, but then what's the worst that's going to happen? He says no. That doesn't seem that bad to me. Obviously, it's a little bit mortifying. Like, don't get me wrong. I do have a real issue with rejection. So actually, I do get it. But at the end of the day, that's the worst thing that's going to happen. You already said you get a little bit like teased and bullied, whatever. So what's a bit more? Realistically. And then I'm just thinking, like, if he does say no and then it's like a hellish time, you're going to be leaving for, like, whatever, like college or whatever you call it in America. You'll be leaving for, like, college and stuff soon. So who cares? Chances are you probably won't go to the same college and you never have to see the person again. And that goes for like kind of everybody at your high school. You'll all kind of just like separate and then things kind of just fizzle. So like I'd say the best time to do it would be now. And then also he could say yes and then you could have a gay love in high school, which I think is kind of the goal. That would be so fun. So I think, yeah, go for it. Point blank, go for it. Grab yourself by the tiny little man balls that you'll have and fucking do it. All right? That one was an easy one for me, I'm not going to lie. Now, would I take that advice as a high schooler myself? Probably not, but that's because I'm inferior. I wouldn't have even had the balls to suggest me going up to somebody, let alone write into someone else to ask them if I should. Because that says to me, you already want to. Okay? Okay, so on to the next one now, guys. This is a fucking humdinger. I tell you what, quite a few of these were high school related, and I didn't realize I had so many high school viewers. So I feel like I should probably try and tone down the filth and the dirt, because the amount I swear and say disgusting shit, I'm so sorry. But this is another one that's from high school, I believe. And I'll tell you what, people be moving fucking weird. Right? In high school, can we get a grip? Like, Jesus, life's hard enough. Growing up is hard enough, right? So, here we go. It's another pretty lengthy one, so strap on in. Hi, Brad. Just wanted to let you know that I'm loving this podcast and your channel. Thank you so much. I'm not going to say your name just in case you don't want me to say it. But on to the story. I, in brackets, female, met one of my best friends, male, when we were 9. We are now nearly 18, both of us having our birthdays next month, and we became friends nearly instantly. Love that. That is so wonderful. I love that there is like this whole male and female being friends, both like straight for the most part. Like, I'm loving this. Like, 'cause I know people can be really funny about men and women that are both straight, like being friends, but I think it's lovely. For years, we were really close and told each other everything. Nothing in our friendship was romantic, purely platonic, but everyone constantly made jokes, which we both understood because we were boy/girl best friends. Absolutely, that's to be expected realistically, because everyone's immature, everyone's going to think you're shagging. Not in high school. Everyone's going to think you're kissing and, you know, feeling things and just exploring, right? That's what everyone's gonna think, right? You two go home from school to hang out, do your homework. People are gonna think you're fucking flicking the bean, right? Anyway, that was uncalled for. I'm so sorry. Oh, wait, they're both nearly 18. Okay, I feel fine. I feel fine saying that. Okay, perfect. In the summer of 2022, he got into a relationship when we were on summer school holidays. Now, the way you phrased that sounds to me like you're from the UK, because we call it school holidays. But I know some places don't. But anyway, when we returned back to school, he did not speak to me at all. Despite years of friendship and the fact we had class together. The days we had class, I would generally get there before him because, you know, punctual. She didn't write that, but I'm just adding that on. And he would have to walk around me to get to his mates, but would still not even acknowledge me. This happened for the entirety of the year. So for the whole of 2022, this motherfucker got into a relationship and aired you. Excuse me? Who the fuck do you think I am? Or who the fuck do you think you are? Fast forward to the end of 2022 and nothing has changed. I have never met his girlfriend despite going to school with both of them. In brackets, the girlfriend is 1 year below us. There has been little to no communication despite the history of our friendship. Yeah, because when did you say you got friends? You met when you were 9 and you're nearly 18. That's 9 years of friendship. This motherfucker's just thrown down the Swanee. Eh? Oh, this is an odd move. In the summer of 2023, his girlfriend requested me on Insta, which was very out of the blue. I think she means summer of 2022, but she put 2023. I accepted in order to be nice and in hopes that the year would be different. But so far, I am wrong. We have been back at school for around 2 weeks now since the holidays, and I have more classes with him this year and get to actually speak to each other. God, so even more opportunities for him to like get over himself, and still fucking nothing. In one of my classes, he sits behind me and another one of my close friends. And whenever me and my friend talk, I can always feel him looking at him, my other friend, and I. God, so he's fucking stood there fucking burning into the backs of your skulls. Honestly, this boy sounds like a piece of work. I want to know your opinion on why he hasn't spoke to me despite trying to initially start at 2022. Okay. Right. My thought is that obviously because you two were really close friends for a very long time, you used to get kind of not picked on, but like teased about the fact that you're obviously this boy-girl friendship, which by the way is completely fucking normal, right? But people are just weird. So obviously this was happening, right? You said that everyone used to tease you, but you kind of both understood it, right? This new girl's come into the picture. You said that she was a year below you, so I wonder if she's like seen you two hanging around, whatever, as they've been maybe getting to know each other, this kind of thing. And then she's been like, oh, I don't like this. She's another straight female. I've got competition here. And she's probably heard what all these people have been laughing and joking about, like teasing you, thinking that maybe you two have had, who knows? She might think that you two have had prior history. We don't know, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if she's told this bitch, this fucking dickhead, right, to phase you out. Or not even phase you out, just ignore you, right? Or they wouldn't be getting into a relationship. And I think this twathead has gone along with it. That's what I think's happened. I don't think it's anything to do with you, because realistically, what have you done? You said you went on holiday. Obviously, you went onto the holidays, whatever. He got this girlfriend, came back, was ignoring you. So it's nothing you've done, for sure not. It's this girl. She's clearly got an issue with you. And this pussy hole is too fragile or not man enough just to tell his fucking weird girlfriend that she's got nothing to feel jealous of, and has clearly gone along with it. And I can only assume that's what it is, because surely he's not going to just want to ignore his best friend of 9 years for no reason without her having come to him. And it's also weird to me. I wonder if you were you like talking a lot during that summer or whatever it was, like the holidays, when he ended up getting with this girl? Because my thought is maybe you were talking a lot to each other, because if you're best mates, you'll probably talk, like, I'd assume, kind of every day, somewhat. Who knows? She might have started being weird about, like, even just that communication, and she's been like, no, nip this in the bud. But the fuck? You're literally both nearly 18. She's 16, 17. This is ridiculous. Now, as for what to do about it, I don't really think there's much you can do, because I don't want you to start like trying to grovel. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want you to start groveling and like wanting him to be your friend again, all this stuff, because then I just think that's, what's the word? That's not what we need to be doing, right? That's just embarrassing. We're not groveling for no fucker. If he wants to ignore us, right, and if he wants to act weird, even though we're in the same classes, we've been friends for 9 years, thank you very much, right? I've seen your little tinky winky in some little swimming briefs, right? I've seen it all. I've heard about you pissing the bed, do you know what I mean? If he wants to be weird and discount all those memories, then that's on him. But chances are, and I'm telling you this now, right? Chances are, this relationship won't last, because she's clearly got some weird trust issues or whatever, right? I mean, is he a player? Your friend or ex-friend, I guess. Is he a player? Because maybe her trust issues are valid. She's clearly got some trust issues, and he's clearly a doormat. So this ain't going to last. There's going to be friction. She's going to end up trust issuing him straight out the door. And then chances are he's going to come running back to you and being like, so sorry for that weird year. How fucking weird was that? How hilarious that I didn't speak to you for a whole year, probably year and a half. I reckon give it till the end of, I'd give it till the end of 2023. They won't be together no more. Because like I said also in the previous one, you're all going to be going off to college soon. Is he just going to go to the same college as her just because, she told him to? So, honey, I honestly wouldn't bother because these are not the kind of friends you want. She's put, was it just a friendship that was bound to end despite how close we were and suddenly stopped coincidentally the same time he got a relationship? No, it wasn't a friendship that was just bound to end. And it was no coincidence. I'm telling you that right now. It's this new fucking girl. She's got some sort of twig up her ass, bee in a bonnet, whatever, right? And he's clearly not man enough to be like, no, this girl's my friend. I've known her for 9 fucking years. You're new into my life and you're new into this picture. Am I fuck phasing her out? It's clearly not man enough to do so. Yeah, you need to look the most unbothered, right? You need to be acting the most normal. And you'll all have similar friends. Like you said, like, he knows one of your other close friends that you were sat next to. I'm just happy that none of your other friends are being weird and phasing you out also. That's nice. So I say we act unbothered, almost try and like, oh, now is this being rude? Is this being really mean? Nah, fuck it. Almost try and like make an effort to really like get into the friendship group that he's in, right? And make them all like you because I'm sure you're super likable, right? And then he's got to be around you then. And then if it's just, because then what's going to happen is, if he's still constantly just like completely ignoring you, airing you, whatever, your friends are all going to be like, what the fuck is going off here? I'm surprised your other friends haven't said anything. Obviously they might have, and she might not have put it in the email. But how your other friends haven't been like, what's going off between you two? Because then you could have been like, beats me, babes. Like that's so weird. It's such a weird fucking situation. And I just don't think you need to bother yourself with it. It's a high school friendship. Like I said, if he wants to throw it away, by all means. Okay, guys, we've got another long one. I mean, this might be the last one, or we might do one more after this, right? So we've got another long one. And this one's a good one. This was the first one that I received. Hi, Brad. I have a dilemma for you. Background info, I am a 19-year-old girl. Lovely. So about 9 months ago, I became good friends with a girl I met at a music thing I do. She seemed really lovely and I got on very well with her. After a few weeks of us being friends, she began to start telling me about her mental health problems, which didn't actually bother me that much as I'm often the therapist friend. Love that. I'm kind of the same. The thing is, I think as friends though also, I do think it's important to be the kind of friend where they can definitely speak about their issues, dump a bit on you, right? Obviously not in excess. And we'll get there with this fucking one, but yeah, right? I think it's important as a friend. Like you should be able to have deep and meaningful and sit down and like have a heart-to-heart live conversation with your best friends or like good friends, whatever. That is really important, and I'm glad you're the kind of friend that people can do that with. It then became clear that I was the only person she has told this to, and she started saying I'm the best friend she's ever had, and she's never trusted anyone this much. Keep in mind, we'd been friends for a month at the most at this point. Now, already, this is giving me dependency. I don't want to say issues, but dependency tendencies and problems potentially, right? One day she messaged me and asked if we could talk, and I said yes. And she basically said that she thought that perhaps she wasn't straight. And I said, obviously, that was fine, and that I had a hunch that she wasn't straight ever since I'd met her. And we moved on from the topic, but this is important. Oof. God, I love the way some of y'all write these. It's like a fucking movie, this is. I love. A few months down the line, things had gone a bit too far. I was starting to find her really draining. We would never have normal conversations. It would always be me essentially giving her a therapy session, and it began to take a toll on me as well. So I was considering distancing from her, but then something happened. Okay, now, before we carry on, this makes total sense, right? This is the issue sometimes with being the therapy friend, with being that shoulder to cry on. Because what it's kind of saying to me is that this girl, I'm not sure if she's got many other friends, and if she has, it doesn't seem like they're the most deep kind of friendships. Does that make sense? Because she said to you that you were the only one that she's told this to. And that was after a month of meeting her. So that says to me she either gets comfy real quick or her other friends aren't very good friends. And obviously now she just dumps everything on you because she obviously doesn't talk to her other friends about it. And she knows how good you are at listening and helping her and giving her advice, whatever, all this stuff. She had quite a bit to drink and she messaged me saying that she was gay for me and she saw me as more than a friend. But I didn't think too much of it at first due to her state. Obviously, because she's drunk, we say stupid shit when we're drunk. Absolutely. She was quite embarrassed by it, so I promised her that it wouldn't affect our friendship, and it was absolutely fine. Things would stay the same, which I would do for anyone in this situation. That is a perfect friend thing to do, right? Someone says something stupid when you're drunk. The thing then is to not make it really awkward when you're sober. Obviously, I know that's harder to do because obviously now you know that your friend has got feelings, sexual feelings, arousal, right? I know it's hard to do, but I do applaud you for saying like nothing's gonna change, like, but just know I don't feel the same. I'm definitely a straight woman, and I don't have those types of feelings for you. Love that. Right? Setting boundaries. This then, however, meant that I couldn't distance myself from her because I didn't want her to think that it was making me uncomfortable because she liked me romantically or that I had an issue with her sexuality. I see where you're at, babes. This is definitely a hard situation. To this day, she still talks to me 24/7, telling me about all her problems, and the friendship has become quite toxic. And each time she drinks, she tells me how much she likes me and wishes I wasn't straight. We'll get into it, but we'll finish. Obviously, I am in no way saying that it's her fault that she has feelings for me, but I still do have an issue with the aspect of things. But this means that trying to create space or distance has become so much harder, and I've been trying to set boundaries, but it's just become so difficult. She has become completely dependent on me, i.e. messages me in the middle of the night because she's having a breakdown, assuming I'm angry at her if I don't reply quickly, etc. And I feel like there's no escape. Do you have any advice? Now, here's what I'm going to say, and now this might be quite controversial, right? I think in this situation, it almost needs to be tough love because the thing is, obviously, I know you're not wanting to be a bad person and like just lay things out on the line, but at the end of the day, this friendship that obviously I'm assuming hasn't lasted that long, right? Or hasn't been going on that long, given the fact that she was obviously very open with you after a month, right? The issue I've got is now that, yes, all these things were happening, like you were the therapy friend, whatever, you didn't mind so much. Now it's like that's all you are to this girl. Like we've said, and like you said in your email, she's dependent on you. That's not healthy when it's a friendship. I feel like there's a level of dependency when you're in a relationship with someone. And I think the level of dependency that she's got going is to the level where she almost treats you as if you were in a relationship, and she probably talks to you and vents to you as if you were obviously partners, right? The issue I've got is that obviously you've been trying to set boundaries with this bitch, and she's discounted these boundaries on several occasions. Every time she's drunk, she's telling you, fancy the pants off you. That's not fair, right? So I think you are well in your right to say, look, if this all continues, I don't see a way in which we can be friends anymore, because and you can say this is nothing to do with your sexuality. Like, I am very much comfortable with your sexuality. Where I draw the line is you constantly telling me that you have feelings for me, knowing full well that those feelings are not reciprocated. Because what she's doing is, right, in her brain, she's thinking, right, every time I get drunk, I'm going to tell her. And then in the hopes that one time I'll tell her, she'll be drunk enough and we'll do things. And then it'll be a whole moment. And then we can really take it to the next level. And then she's got you then. Right? That's in her head where she's at, and that's what she's doing. She's hoping that one time you're going to be drunk enough for it just to go with the flow, and then you'll make a mistake, and that'll be it. She's captured you. You ain't getting out then, babes. Right? Or if you try to, it'll be even messier. So I think if you do want to salvage this friendship, which I don't know if you do, right? But if you did want to salvage the friendship, I think you're well in your right to like sit her down, text her, call her, whatever. Probably not text because things can be misread over text. I'd say at least call, FaceTime, or in person, right? Meet up and just be like, look, I've got a few things that I need to get off my chest. I love being friends with you. I love that we can have these deep chats, and I love that I can help you out and you feel like you can confide in me, because that is a beautiful thing. It is a great thing when you're friends with someone and, like I said, you can have these deep and meaningful conversations. It adds a whole nother level to the friendship, right? So we love that. We love that. And tell her, look, that's great. I'm all for it. But there has to come a point where we speak about other things, because you almost feel like you're a punching bag. And that's what it is. I know that's kind of brutal maybe to say, but that's how it feels. There's obviously being there for someone, whatever, but then it also can turn into trauma dumping, which is what this is, essentially. That's what she's doing to you. And that's not fair, just because obviously you've expressed that you're happy to be someone for her to confide in the first place. She's taken it too far now, and you're allowed to be like, no. Let's pull this back. Let's rein this fucking in. This ain't working. And then that on top of now making you feel uncomfortable, sexually uncomfortable, because like I'm sure you're worried that like when you're drunk or whatever, she might make a move. That's a whole nother stress, right? So you've got two valid reasons now to sit her down and say that this is what it is. If you want to salvage the friendship, obviously go that route. See how she takes it. Just make sure it's very clear in the way you're saying it that it isn't anything to do with her sexuality, because you can even say to her, I know that this is how this is going to come across, but trust me, this is not the issue. I don't care that that's your sexuality. My problem is the uncomfortable aspect of you constantly expressing to me that you've got feelings for me when I've told you time and time again that they're not reciprocated. Because if someone does that once and it's not reciprocated, you shouldn't say it again, in my opinion. Unless it's like a wavering response where like they're kind of umming and ahhing, not sure, and maybe they have other things going on. But I imagine you've been pretty clear with it every single time she's brought it up. But yeah, and I mean, if you don't want to salvage the friendship, fizzle her out, babes. And I know that might be kind of hard because obviously you do this music thing with her, right? I think phase her out if you don't want this friendship. I think phase her out. Can you change music things? But then what if she gets wind and she comes with, you know? Like what if she goes to this music thing and I'm assuming you've all got like different friends there and she's like, excuse me, have you seen Georgina anywhere? And then they're like, oh yeah, she's transferred to this day or whatever. And then she's like, right, she's turning up. Oh God, that's a whole nother thing. I think your best bet is to sit this bitch down and just be like, look, this is my issue. I know how this is going to come across, but here it is anyway, you know? Oh, and I wish you the best of luck. Fucking hell, that's a hard one. That's a hard one because obviously a lot of feelings are involved there, both like romantic and mental health things. Like there's a lot going on there, but at the same time, you got to put yourself first at some point. And I feel like you've been good to this girl up until now, so I guess just see how that goes. Okay. Let's move on. Last one we're going to do today. Hey, Brad. To start off, I want to say that I'm loving the podcast so far. Oh, thank you so much. I love when you guys start it off with a little something. Thank you so much. Right. Thank you. Also, I'm sorry if I write something wrong because English is not my first language. Never apologize for that stuff. Nobody. A few of you actually put those little disclaimers at the beginning. Never apologize. I appreciate that you're even trying to write in English at all. Like, if you want to send it in your own language, I can translate, babes. Don't worry about that. Okay, so basically, when I moved schools 7 years ago, I became friends with this girl. In brackets, you can call her Katie. Will do. And not long after that, we became best friends, in capitals. We did everything together and we saw each other every day. By the way, she's the first friend that I've ever been this close with. Love that. Anyways, we were friends for 3 years, and then her birthday was coming up, and I told her I couldn't go because I had a doctor's appointment. That's shitty. Could we not have rearranged a doctor's appointment? I guess depending on how important it is, it's kind of imperative that you go, right? Also, she was friends with this other girl. You can call her Gabby. Ooh, Gabby. Gabby and Katie. So her birthday came, and I knew that Gabby was going, but I didn't know that they literally planned to basically ghost me after Katie found out that I'm not going. This is giving bitch. This is giving bitchy. This is giving bitchy. I found out that 2 days later, and I was devastated. Also, like 3 months before this, I didn't notice we were only doing things that she wanted, and she never listened to my opinion and basically didn't let me be who I wanted to be. Sadly, I was stupid for not noticing. But like, if you're good friends with someone, you're not gonna notice until like they've kind of like done something wrong, and then you kind of like scan over the rest of your friendship, right? Then you're like, oh, was it really that good of a friendship? And then you will have been like, oh, well, actually no, because she never really wanted to do what I wanted to do. It always had to be things that she wanted, and then if it wasn't what she wanted, she'd be pissed off, being weird. But that's exactly what this has been. Like, she wanted you there, you weren't there. So now she's pissed off and she's ghosting you. It's exactly what she's been doing for like however long your friendship was. And I also found out that Katie was talking shit about me to Gabby for like 5 months before this. Katie's a fucking bitch. Katie can fuck off. Absolutely not, Katie. She was the closest friend that I have ever had, but also the most toxic I have ever had. And now she's the reason I have trust issues. But yeah, now they are still friends, but there have been a lot of times where Katie has tried to be friends with me again. So do you have any advice for keeping toxic people out of your life? Because I will admit, I am naive, and it's kind of hard for me to notice that someone is either using me or being toxic. Thanks, Brad. Also, I hope that this didn't send too late. It didn't. So we're going to just kind of talk about toxic friends in general, because, I mean, that's essentially what this is. Realistically, we don't want to be friends with Katie, right? Gabby seems decent. And I'm assuming Gabby's the one that told you that she's been bitching about you for 5 months. Can you and Gabby not just fuck her off? Because it sounds to me like Katie's some spoilt bitch that, like you said, doesn't like it when things don't go her way. Very immature. This is giving high school, once again, I'm not going to lie. These seem like high school problems. I think you ought to just be like, whenever Katie tries to wean away back in, be like, no, I don't want anything to do with you. I had a doctor's appointment. I'd love to know. I was going to say I'd love to know what the doctor's appointment was for, but I don't want to. Obviously, that's personal information. But like, what if it was like for something serious, like a serious doctor's appointment? Like, I'm not being funny, but especially in this day and age, fucking doctor's appointments are hard to get. So it's like you can just cancel that motherfucker. And how pathetic of her to not be like, oh, well, if you can't do that day, why don't we try and shift it to the day after or the day before? And then all three of us can go and do something. Like, that would be fun, right? Instead, she's decided to make you feel like shit, air you after your doctor's appointment. Tried to probably turn others against you, because that's what she was doing when she was bitching to Gabby, right? She was trying to turn Gabby against you is what she was doing. What the fuck? And then she's trying to worm her way back in. No, bitch. You air me for a little time and that's it. See you later. We're not going back to these kind of people, because why would we want to be friends with people that are going to treat us like that? These are the kind of people that pick you up when they want you and throw you to one side when it doesn't serve them anymore. Right? This kind of does link to the last one. Like, you need to be friends with someone that wants to be friends with you all the time. Not when it's like, not when it suits them, or not when they're going through a tough time. Just like friends that want to be friends, because this is just ridiculously toxic now. You don't want to be friends with Katie. I'd say tell her. Next time she comes worming back in, because guaranteed she will do, be like, you know what, Katie? Fuck off. I don't appreciate the fact that you aired me just because I couldn't come to your birthday party when I would have happily tried to rearrange. Obviously, it wasn't my place to be like, well, should we rearrange? No, you were like, oh, like, can't come. I'm happy for you guys. Like, have a great time, though. I'm so sorry I can't come. But if the thing is, if she would have wanted you at this birthday, right? If she would have wanted you at this birthday party, she would have rearranged that motherfucking birthday party. So that kind of says all you need to know. And then the fact that she's been bitching about you for 5 months prior to that, it sounds to me like she's used this birthday party thing as a reason just to fob you off and, flick you to one side. That's what it's saying to me, that she's using this as a reason now to not be a friend. But then also, like, it's weird. It is weird behavior though, that she's trying to like constantly be friends with you again. But I wonder if that's like, I don't even know what that could be. Because why would you bitch about someone, air them because they couldn't come to your birthday, but then want to be friends with them again after that? I'd assume maybe it's because like you're probably still good friends with Gabby, and then she probably sees times where you and her are getting along and you two are doing things, and she's like, oh, like, I wish I were involved. Do you know what I mean? She's probably feeling a bit of like, oh, but she's feeling FOMO is what it is. It's probably, oh my God, it's probably fucking FOMO. I think I've cracked it. I think it's FOMO. So I think what you can do in this situation is literally just air her back. And if she tries to win my way back in, either ignore her or tell her to fuck off, right? Maybe not so brutal, but still. I wouldn't now take to like bitching about her back with Gabby. We don't need to be doing all that because that's also toxic. So I guess that's kind of the only way you can keep toxic friends out of your life, because realistically, we don't want to be friends with these people. So it's, in my opinion, as soon as you know someone's toxic, it shouldn't be hard to keep them out of your life, unless obviously you're a little bit insecure about obviously friends and your friendship group and stuff like that. I guess if you're a little bit insecure in that respect, then it might be a little bit more difficult. But where I stand is you'd rather have no friends than a bunch of shitty friends, right? Like, I've got one solid best mate. I've got a few friends that I see here and there. Obviously, it's difficult more now when you're an adult because obviously you all kind of separate. You all do life different, whatever. So it's hard to see all these people. But I've got one solid friend that I speak to every single day. I've got friends that I'd obviously make the effort to see them every once in a while when I can. But other than that, that's it. You don't need an abundance of friends. And I think in school, there's so much pressure to be a part of like a clique and a group. Do you know what I mean? Because realistically, that's what school is. It's a hierarchy. But I'd say, straight off the bat, don't feed into that bullshit. You don't need these friends. You don't need Katie. She's clearly a fucking bitch. She'll never amount to anything. And you're better off, babes. And you've still got Gabby, I guess. And I'm assuming you've probably got other friends. And I guess it's probably a case of like Katie kind of comes with a few of your other friends, I should imagine. Like, you're all kind of mutual friends. Make sure they know what's going off, and be like, look, like, I'm not going to stop you guys from obviously hanging out with her because she's done nothing to you guys. But just so you know, like, I won't stand for someone like picking and choosing when they want to be my friend. And like, I'm not going to make it awkward. I'll be completely civil, but I don't want to be spending time with Katie. So I'd say, yeah, make sure your other friends know what's going on if they obviously are friends with Katie, just because then they're not going to put you in any awkward positions, you know. But other than that, I think that's the best you can do. And Katie will get the picture eventually, I reckon. So yeah. With all that said, guys, this is another episode. I've really, really enjoyed this. Like I said, the email is thekitchensinkpd@gmail.com. Please do, whenever you need to or whenever you feel like, throw a dilemma my way. Like I've said, maybe code names, background story. I absolutely love doing this episode, and I've got probably enough. I've got. I'd imagine enough dilemmas to do a part 2 to this if you want it. Straight out the gates. So yeah, let's keep this going. I enjoy these because it's not me having to speak about myself. I can kind of just chat shit about other people. So yeah, feel free to email me. Doesn't always have to be like relationships, dating. It can literally be anything. I'm open to talking about whatever. And yeah, thanks for listening if you made it this far. And this is another episode down the drain. Goodbye. See you next week.